Well, for number one, I am on Sharon's side. It doesn't matter who you are. You do not leave your children. Whether you're on holiday, if you're on holiday, you know, your kids could sleep in buggies, they sleep on the side. What in your right mind would you leave your kids in a room? I'm totally on the side. Doctors or no doctors, you do not leave your kids in a room. I don't care if they say it's a safe place, whether you could see them or not. You don't. Don't take them on holiday if you want to leave them in a room. Not only that, you know, you could go to these places and they say, oh, yeah, we can look after your children here, there, but no, I agree. You just don't leave your kids.
I think whatever you think about what they did, I think it's very unhelpful probably to actually talk about it in the way that Sharon did. I mean, I don't think anybody should feel more guilty than the McCanns do. Yeah. It was a mistake, and yes, you shouldn't leave kids alone. They obviously couldn't see. But what is the point of coming down so many years after the event and saying that when you know, number one, it's going to be incredibly hurtful to those parents, and number two, it doesn't go anywhere towards actually finding them. And what you should maybe be doing is thinking of constructive ways so that would never happen again. And I actually think it must have been incredibly hurtful.
The other thing is, there's so many children and, you know, people that go missing every single day, even like Wednesday, it's International Missing Children's Day. Now, they're lucky in a way that they've got the public behind them to make it aware about their daughter. Not everyone gets that chance. So if they're going to put themselves in that public eye, like, for example, if I went on holiday and my friends probably said, oh, you know, what are you going to do with your kids? I'll probably say, well, I'm not going to do what the McCanns did as a passing comment, whether you agree with it or not. Yeah. That they've made everyone so aware about the kids, and I think it's saved a lot of children's lives that people are aware that you just don't leave your kids.
You're right. It's a show like this one. The actual topic that they were talking about was a mum's net discussion where a mum had just said, I want to nip up the road for 5 minutes. Is it OK to leave my baby at home alone? So they had a whole discussion about that, and then in the context of that discussion, Sharon talked about the McCanns. And I don't care what anybody says, the McCanns is the ultimate kind of media story about, you know, I feel terrible for the McCanns, and they, you know, never as terrible as they're going to feel for themselves.
Exactly.
But it's not ignorant or ill-informed. Everything she said is correct. That you know, they did. They did leave their child sleeping in a room, and yes, absolutely, they didn't know that anything was going to happen. Of course not. But those are the facts, uncomfortable though they may be. And you know, the layout of that complex. You've got the restaurant, you've got the pool, you've got the house, and then their house was right on the end, behind some bushes. The children are in the back of the. Now, I wouldn't necessarily, I don't judge them or anything like that, but the only reason I wouldn't have left them was I would have thought if they'd woken up disorientated, they might have walked out into the pool. Yeah. You know, and the person to blame is the person that took Madeleine McCann. Absolutely. But they are being unrealistic if they think people are not going to carry on discussing this for as long as Madeleine is still missing. And you know what? Maybe it will open up a global conversation again and help the McCanns find their daughter.
But that's exactly the point. If you've enjoyed that, then why not click here for more? And don't forget to subscribe by clicking here so that you never miss out on the best Loose Women moments.
A man approached them within that 10 minutes.
You're kidding.
They were doing gymnastics. He was a lone man of about 25, 26-year-old. What single man goes up to 3 children and starts talking to them? Oh, my God. They were doing gymnastics, and he started to say to them, oh, you know, I used to do gymnastics. I had a dream once of being a gymnast, and my